All right, the final three fights on the main card. Tim Elliott versus Steve Erceg. Look, this set the tone, I think, for the rest of the night. How do I say this? Traditional versus wild. And that's very MMA, right? Like, I think the first guy who came in and fought with a real MMA style that was not traditional was Dominic Cruz. And he circled and he circled and he circled and he confused people for absolute years. And then a guy came in, very, very traditional boxing, Cody Garbrandt. Used to be a pro boxer before he became an MMA guy. And with a little bit of wrestling and that pro boxing traditional work, he beat Dominic Cruz. Now, Dominic Cruz spent the latter part of his career not just circling left and right, which is that work for those initial years for him in MMA, but he also took on that new style where he would push forward. You know, his power hand would be his lead hand, whether that was left or right, and he switched and everything else. And we saw him in a fight with Chito Vera. And he outdid Chito Vera the whole first round. He looked amazing. And by the way, Hyde Mill did this to me when I was more of a traditional type of striker guy. Hyde Mill came in and he bounced around. He was lighter than me and he tooled me up, right, for that round. And then we never sparred again. That was just the breaks, you know, gym sparring and stuff. Last night, what happened to Tim Elliott is the exact same thing that happened to Dominic Cruz when he was fighting that way against Chito Vera, right? Eventually, that stuff catches up with you. Being wild, you inherently have no defense. You inherently are expending a lot of energy rather than being more traditional and more static and having your hands up and you're ready for anything. So Erceg won that fight. He won it well. He is a technician as far as boxing and MMA goes. He looks very much like a traditional boxer, quite frankly, and his ground game is excellent too. So great fight, and it set the tone for the rest of the night. Quillan Salkild versus Beneil Dariush. Listen, the funny part was, I remember saying about Salkild, we don't know if he's a one-kick wonder yet. Let's give him time. Well, Beneil Dariush, who really is not much of a striker, but really does have good kicks, like high kicks. Like I've seen him, they were slow in the past. It wasn't slow tonight. I mean, he rocked Quillan really, really bad with that head kick. Got on top of him, almost was able to do something with him. Like that set up a grappling exchange, but Quillan was good enough in the grappling exchange to come back and finish him. So that was a fun one. Unexpected that the head kick of Dariush, which was Quillan Salkild's calling card, would actually be a factor in that fight. The last fight, very interesting, guys. Listen, Prates, I love, without a doubt. But I watched him lose to Ian Gary, and I saw limitations there. Jack Della Magdalena versus Prates. Styles make fights. Look, the bottom line is, Jack was way more traditional in the sense of his hands being up all the time. Prates used that unconventional MMA stuff. What do I mean by that? That movement that you simply don't move like that in Muay Thai. And I know he had a whole career in Muay Thai. But what he did take from Muay Thai, and this was very interesting, once he had Magdalena hurt, and he got him hurt because of the movement that set up regular strikes, punches and kicks, then he would use elbows and knees to great advantage. And, you know, people talk about the blue ocean being the cage fighting, which is true, right? Like a D1 wrestler might not be really good against cage because he doesn't understand it. So if you do your cage training, that can be a real good wild card for you. Let me say this. Knees and elbows, Muay Thai style, are not really much of a part in MMA. They're difficult to spar. People can't really throw them full contact. They don't really do them. Well, Prates does them like a true Muay Thai fighter who's adapted them to MMA. And wow, what a display of magic. It brings you back to wonder if Jack Della Magdalena's reign came from Belal trying to strike with him when they had that fight in Chicago or wherever it was, when Belal should have simply grappled with him. But whatever it is what it is. Prates is the heir apparent. And ironic, like, who should it be? Should it be Ian Gary? Should it be Prates? Or should it be one of those grapplers that Makhachev keeps trying to call out? I don't know. You tell me in the comments. I'd like a follow for more on The Fight King.